Q&A for you guys. I get a lot of questions that are not only repetitive, which is obviously great that people are tuning in and asking certain things for educational purposes, also as far as business and practices there. I wanted to touch on a few things here. We're finishing up a job, excuse me. I am covered in some dirt and some saw chips, but we love it. That's what we live for. So what I'd like to do is answer some questions here that we've been receiving that are either common or things that maybe other people might not think of asking. And let's see how we do. Alright, so one of the biggest questions I feel is probably the most important for everybody is how long does it take to receive an estimate? From the time you call, I'm out on jobs every single day. I do have my phone with me, but I cannot always have that on my person, especially being tree work. I would probably go through about 8 phones a year. So if you call, leave a text, voicemail with your information. I will call you back as soon as I can. Typically it's within a day or two. And as far as your estimate goes, it really just depends on your schedule. Typically evenings and weekends work best for us, but we are making moves to be available more during the daytime hours. We have made the move to make some sales moves during the day as far as hiring an individual to do that. So it'll be a little more available for everybody. Hopefully that'll make people, happy and be more convenient. But typically right now, until that is all set in place, the evenings and the weekends are where we're going to be. As far as when or how soon, it really just depends on your schedule within those time frames and what we can do to work around your schedule. We're absolutely, we are all family people here. We all have kids and pets and other responsibilities outside of here, even though we're here very, very often. But we do make every effort to work with everybody. So that leads on to the next part. Something that I say all the time, and it's not, we don't say this to come across the wrong way or anything, but if you call a tree guy, a landscaper, anybody that works outside from the spring through the fall, and they're able to get to you right away for a non-emergency item, not always, but typically if they're immediately available, they're probably not busy for a reason. I know me, when I call for an estimate from a contractor or a special service provider, I kind of want them to be booked back a little bit, because that means that they must be doing good work. People must be talking, give them good referrals, and they have a busy schedule. That's what I want. Those are the people I look for. Hopefully people understand that with us here. We are far behind, but we do work long hours to try and make up for that. Which leads me to another point, and has anybody, obviously people can't respond to me right now, but if you've ever watched the old TV show MASH, when people come in with their wounds, people try to triage things. If you have somebody with a broken toe, if you have somebody with a laceration on their arm, or if you have somebody with a gunshot wound, the guy with the gunshot wound is going to be seen first, then probably the laceration, then the broken toe. We try to do that in tree work. If we have an emergency, something's on somebody's house, on their car, blocking a driveway, obviously that's first priority. It doesn't matter how backed up we are. That's first and foremost. Second would be the things that present themselves to be an obvious danger. And then third, even though we try to go in order, third is what we call standard tree work, normal daily business type of things. So again, we try to work with schedules and triage things, if you will, but it's really important that we not only work hard to get to you as fast as possible, we always just ask for a little bit of patience, because we try to treat everybody's job just like yours. There's nobody that has a more important job necessarily, other than something that's maybe an emergency.
So you guys do emergency calls?
Absolutely do emergency calls 24/7. This phone right here, which is what I'm answering my questions off of here. This phone is up, it's on, you can call me, you can reach me. Now, please make sure it's an emergency if you're going to call at 3 a.m.
What constitutes as an emergency?
Emergency would be tree on a house, tree on a car, injuries. We need to move a tree to get somebody help, things like that. So again, 24/7 service. We can come out, we can assess it. We have people in place to do so. Don't be afraid to call if it's a legitimate emergency. If not, and you think it can wait until the morning, then just call first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning being around 7 a.m. And I will change my plans. I will be there to help you. That's what we do. The next question I wanted to address here is payment methods when it comes to doing these types of work. We do cash, credit, and checks. Does not have to be a cashier check. We've typically had pretty good success with people writing checks, so we're not real skittish about that just yet. Hopefully that doesn't ever change.
Jack said, "Well said, you're the man, brother."
What's up, Jack? Jack's a great friend of mine. We got to do some work together yesterday. That was pretty cool.
In the storm?
In the storm, in the middle of the storm, we had a tree over some three-phase power lines, a service drop up on a hill. The crane was, I don't know, when I set the crane up, I think the one front wheel is about 6 feet off the ground.
So you can work during a storm?
Absolutely. Our trucks, believe it or not, there's a lot of misconceptions about what tree guys can do in the storm. It is highly frowned upon to work in a lightning storm. However, one thing to consider is that the bucket trucks, like you may or may not be able to see behind me, our bucket truck, they are dielectric tested up to, now this is not the standard, but it's typical, 50 kilovolts of electricity. So you can lay that boom on a three-phase power line and not get electrocuted. Now, is that something that we do all the time, testing our limits? Absolutely not. But they are tested, they are rated for that. The misconception here is that when you go to Rental Corral or Taylor Rental or any other rental place, which by the way, those are all great rental places, but if you buy the pull behind or the self-propelled lifts, they are metal, they are not electrically insulated. Bucket trucks are, those lifts are not. So do not think, okay, well, Charles Sawtelle said this lift is dielectric insulated, I can go work on my own stuff. That's not what that means. So please don't misconstrue that information. Another question we get all the time is how long does it take to do a job once we do get there? It depends on the size of your work. We try to get things done in a day or two. It just depends on how big the tree is. If it's a big tree, it could take up to 3 days. If it's pretty standard, if you will, most trees around our area are about 75, 80 feet. Now, obviously, we get more that are up towards 100. We get some that are 50. But some trees that are typical 75, 80 feet, we can do in a day. We'll have everything done, cleaned up. When we give you a price, your price includes getting the tree down if we're removing. If not, we're pruning. That's fine. We'll do that. We love to do pruning, by the way. But your price includes doing the tree work itself, cleaning the mess up, hauling the wood away, and then if we do offer services where we grind stumps and things like that, but stump grinding is not included in your tree price unless we discuss it and it's written on your contract.
Is it pruning season right now?
Pruning season is upon us. Not yet. It's coming. As soon as we start getting some of these cooler September days, that's when we're going to start doing what I call the second wave of the pruning season. The best time to prune is in the spring, between March and roughly tax time, April 15th. The one thing that people need to keep in mind is if a tree guy shows up to your house and you have an oak tree of any species, does not matter if it's a red oak, white oak, black oak, pin oak, does not matter. You do not prune those trees from May through September. The reason why, oak wilt is a very, very dangerous fungus and bacterial infection that can kill an oak tree in less than 30 days. That's transported through a beetle. The beetle carries the spore from tree to tree. Some scientist somewhere who's a lot smarter than me found out a long time ago that when you make a fresh oak cut, if you're pruning and you cut off a limb, it takes 8 days for the scent of that fresh cut to go away. And in that 8-day period is our most dangerous time for that beetle to come and introduce that spore into those oak trees. So the idea is not for the trees to be dormant, the idea is for the beetle to be dormant. So we need colder weather where the insects are dying off for us to do the oak tree pruning. But the later season, just to touch on that real quick, we typically try to go somewhere between the middle of September if it's cooled off enough and we can prune all the way through the winter, really. But we try to avoid the coldest, driest times in the winter, just because it's too dry. It's not good to prune a tree heavily when it's too dry because it just can't recover. And then in the spring, it's gonna be stressed out, and we don't want that. That's sometimes what leads to trees dying. So we try to only go to about Thanksgiving.
So should people be calling you now to schedule their tree prunings?
Absolutely. As far as pruning and removals go, if you're looking to do something in a couple months, honestly, we're about 2 months out right now. I have 5 guys out here with me today. They're actually out and about working right now. We're finishing up some stuff, and again, we try the best we can, but only one person, only one crew. We're trying. So if you want to do something within a month or two, probably call us now, and then get that on the books, and then just plan for that. But hopefully this was good for everybody. I would like to do some more of these Q&A sessions here. I don't know, don't hold me to the gospel, but I'd like to do it maybe 3 or 4 times a year. Get a nice collection of questions put together. That'd be good for everybody.
If you're watching the recorded version later, not live, and you have a question, drop it here for us, and we'll answer it later.
Absolutely. We've been more than happy to comment, answer your question any way possible. So check us out. We're online, SawtelleTreeService.com. Also Gmail, SawtelleTreeService@gmail.com. And then obviously our Facebook page, pass it around. That's how we feed the kiddos. So we love any good referrals. It was good talking to you guys. Talk to you soon.